Tim Burchett joins me now. Congressman, look, the one talking point is there's no smoking gun. I don't think that's the case. What did you learn today?
It's just more of the same. You've got, look, $20 million has flowed through this company, if you want to call it, this family. I was on one of your rival networks who leans very far to the left, and they said, well, actually only 5 million touched these hands or whatever. I said, well, so it makes it okay? You know, the DNC issues their talking points, and the left-wing media, they lap it up like Pavlov's dog. You know, this is all the same old stuff. We've seen this time and time again. Hunter gets in there and he gets frustrated and he strikes out at a member. The Democrats, the ones that, as you stated, one had an association with a female Chinese communist spy and was allowed, remember, he was allowed to stay on the Intelligence Committee by Speaker Pelosi, of all things. And where was the outcry of all that? I mean, that should have stopped the trains right then. Yeah. And now they're, this agenda after agenda after agenda. Sometimes I wonder why God just doesn't wipe us off the face of the map.
Yeah, meteor comes to mind. But, Congressman, this is a statement we got from Hunter Biden today. He said, quote, I am here today to provide the committees with a one uncontestable fact that should end the false premise of this inquiry. I did not involve my father in my business, not while I was a practicing lawyer, not in my investments or transactions or domestic, international, not as a board member, not as an artist, never. This is funny because they valued his art at $500,000 a piece. That means 36 of those could actually buy Mar-a-Lago by Judge Engoron's own assessment of Mar-a-Lago. But this guy also got board seats, $2 billion from Chinese company. And on top of all that, he said in his own text messages, I am standing next to my father right now who will forever hold a grudge.
Yeah, and what product was he selling? The fact that he's a reformed crackhead who dates hookers? I mean, what's his criteria? What product are they selling? He's not selling anything but influence, his last name. If his last name was Burchett, I draw Bigfoots all the time, and I can't give anybody to give me 50 cents for it. And I sure as heck don't get a $200,000 or whatever, $100,000 loan from a failing healthcare company. Because that's what corporations do. They loan individuals money, and then turn around and pays his brother a chunk of that day. Just coincidental. But, and you don't get letters that where banks say, hey, they're running a whole heck of a lot of money through these accounts and they're not selling a product. We need to watch this. And, and legitimate business people don't set up 20 shell corporations or have 20 bank accounts. No. They just don't do those things. Yet this is continuously. And, the real frustration is, we can show that he snatched the Lindbergh baby and our Justice Department's head would be in the sand. You think Chuck Schumer's going to do anything with this? It's just like the border. They're just going to let this thing run amok. These are anarchists. 20 million Americans decided to stay home last election cycle, and this is what we got. I hope those people are turning off The View as their political consultants and using that brain that God gave them and go to the polls and make some serious changes this election cycle.
Well, Congressman, this just breaking now. The U.S. Supreme Court will consider Trump's presidential immunity argument set for the week of April 22nd. That kind of puts everything else on pause, sir. All these cases, it essentially puts the handcuffs back on Jack Smith, says you can't do anything. What do you make of the fact that they're taking this case up and Jack Smith may be fired if they rule that he does have presidential immunity?
Well, up until this point, every president has had that, and they've made an exception under Donald Trump, and that's clearly our justice system has just gone awry. The whole thing is, this is a witch hunt. We know it, and it's taken its toll on the president. I've seen him. I've talked to him. I know it's taken a toll on him. It'd have to. But the reality is the American public sees what's going on. Even the Democrats, they joke about it behind closed doors, and they shake their head at what's going on in the White House right now, a dawdling old man that needs to go home.
Right. Well, but that's the problem, too, sir, is, like you said, everybody's had it going back to, George Washington. However, we have a Democratic Party that is willing to obliterate all norms. My question is there's a bunch of Republicans in the House, some of your colleagues might be great guys, might make a nice neighbor, but don't have the backbone to play by the same rules as your Democratic colleagues. At some point, do we just have to fight fire with fire here, sir? And why would they hold back from that?
I would think we would. At some time, we got to get some guts. I about said something inappropriate, but sometime we got to get some guts here. The reality is, and I would hope that people would hold us accountable. We run every 2 years for a reason. There's a reason the Senate runs every 6 years. We run every 2 years. And I would hope people would start looking into some of this bogus legislation that gets passed and the reason that some of us vote against some of it. We're taking in $5 trillion every year and we're spending $7 trillion, things like that. But in the meantime, it is ridiculous. I would hope that the American public realizes there is a witch hunt going on after President Trump, and there's two sets of rules. There's the Biden's rules, and there's everybody else's. They're playing dirty. We need to play by the rules, but we can play by the rules and win. Yeah. We've proven that in the past. But Jesus didn't ask the money changers to leave the temple, brother. He threw them out, and we need to start throwing out some of the money changers.
I'm good with that. Well, Congressman Tim Burchett, you're one of my favorites up there on the Hill. Appreciate you joining us, sir.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Hey, if you ever come to town, I'll take you over to the Capitol Hill Club. It's expensive, but the food's mediocre.
Okay, as long as they have red meat that is done rare, I'm good. All right, sir.
It's actually pretty good. Yeah, I'll take you.